I think it's so important to just go out and catch one bass. Before you catch 5 or 6 bass, go catch you one. That'll work. That'll work. All right, that's a nice one. That's 4-pounder. That's 4 pounds. All right, what do you think? That Chatterbait Evo. I'm a fan. Yeah, that's 4 pounds all day. All right, so there's the, kind of see the reddish tint to his eyes. Not the whitest bass, but it's definitely one that's somewhat fresh. It'd be a little bit darker if it's been living back here for months. All right, there's that one bite I was talking about. All right, so that kind of keyed me in a little bit. And I might have been fishing the right stuff since I've been in here. I'm just fishing areas that have already been fished. So this is the Chatterbait Evo. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the price point. I'm a fan of the bait keeper. A little bit different than a jackhammer, but everything else is fairly similar. You got the head, the blade. To me, those are almost exactly like the jackhammer. You have a hand-tied wire skirt. And then my favorite part of this bait so far is this hook. The barb is slightly bigger than the barb on the jackhammer. So for that reason, when this bait is 5 years old and it's been in my tackle box that's gotten a little water in it every once in a while, that barb's not going to rust out. So when you think of your excuse me, when you think of your baits that you're going to spend $20 on, I'd like to have them till I break them off for the rest of my life. I don't think that's too much to ask. And when you have a hook that's attached to a jig head, you know, that's not going to last very long. 5 years or so, I think, is what I get out of a jackhammer, which a jackhammer, in my opinion, is the greatest chatterbait ever invented. But with saying that, I like this one too. And it's not cheap. It's a $10 bait. So, fishing industry, what I learned is that baits are constantly getting better. They're trying to get better at making them and the price and how they make them and all that. So I think a lot of things about this bait are just as good, and there's a few things that I think are better. So we're gonna stay right in this little general area for a little bit longer. I'm getting the feeling that I've been fishing the right stuff in here. I just need to get out of some areas that can't handle the pressure. That's my thing. All right, that's a bite. It's not a. And that's a fat little bass. I didn't really have any idea what I was doing when I first got in here. Water's come down like several feet. Springtime, you pretty much got to take every day differently anyways. So I had no idea. The problem that you'll run into on lakes that get a lot of fishing pressure is you might be doing the right thing. You're just fishing behind somebody. I don't know how long those spots have sat there without a boat on them, but could have been 30 minutes. I've been here not too long, and I've already seen a boat in here come and go. So it's like maybe those 2 or 3 places that I fished, they had fish on them earlier today, and somebody came by and picked them off. that's probably the toughest thing. You know, you want to go by the conditions, you want to figure everything out, but man, if you're just fishing behind people all the day, you know, I actually had the funniest thing, or more depressing thing, happen to me earlier this week. Is I was fishing down the bank with this bait, and I hooked another bait, a white chatterbait with a mooch minnow on the back of it. So almost like exactly the same bait that I'm throwing. So I know those fish had already seen a chatterbait, and the hook wasn't rusty. So how long had it been? Had it been just a couple days? Had it been a couple hours since someone had already come through there with a chatterbait? So that's kind of been the downside of a chatterbait for me the last couple of years. I love the bait. It's one of my favorites. I've probably caught more fish on a chatterbait than any other bait, especially moving baits. But it's like, man, if everybody's throwing it. I had a couple of bad tournaments on it, and I was like, I gotta learn how to crank. I gotta learn how to do some different things, because this is just not what I want to be doing. Fishing exactly like everybody else. But you also can't deny the fact that it flat out catches them. So there's nothing wrong with throwing baits that the bass love and flat out catch fish. So I think this is the type of stuff that I want to be on right now. I just got to keep looking, definitely saturate this area, you know, definitely keep this bait in this area, and maybe even switch it up a little bit. So I got a lot of other baits that run the same depth, come through grass good. And before I leave this little stretch, I'll probably make another throw with something else. I got some different colored chatterbaits. So we will see. And believe me, this is the pattern where they're up there. We got another couple months of this type fishing. So there's thousands of fish behind me. They might not all be out there right now, but they're coming. There'll be thousands more that want to come into this general area. So as much as you like to think you got it all figured out and every bass is going to be right here, you have a partner in the back of your boat throwing out the other side, catches a 7-pounder out there, then you start thinking, okay, I don't have it all figured out. That one's close to keeper. But yeah, that one, oh golly. Sorry fish. Yeah, it's a little bit whiter. A little bit whiter fish than those other ones I was catching. Just kind of tells me that there's something to this little general stretch.